YouTube, I'm back again, this time for a comics review, and March is going to be a very, very short video because I got three measly comics to go through, only two of which I picked up at my comic book store. The other one I ordered off eBay and it arrived a few weeks back. So it's an older back issue. So just three comics. I was so disappointed when I went in and I was like, yeah, I'd like to pick up what's in my what's come in for me over the last month, and it was 2 issues. And I was like, what the fuck? I know G.I. Joe's over, but there still I felt like there should have been a couple Turtles, a couple Transformers, whatever. At least had 4 or 5, but two. So anyways, let's get it over with. First up, the two new ones are both from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ongoing series right now. The first one is the regular series, and it is issue 137. In this one, if you remember at the end of one of the last issues, I'm getting so confused between the regular ongoing issue, the Armageddon Game subseries, and then the Armageddon Game, the Alliance subseries. I forget which happens in which book, sort of thing, right? But if you remember, Donnie used his the mystical moves that Shredder taught them to basically open a time portal and stop time to defend against those attackers that had raided the lair, their home base, and were after Siri the Triceraton. So at the start of this issue, Donnie comes back from inside the portal, and Jenica wakes up, but Siri and a couple of the other ones are still frozen in time. And so he kind of reverses what happened, and everybody wakes up and they're like, what the hell happened? What was that all about? And then, but they have no time to really discuss it because all of a sudden, all this chaos breaks out outside of the in the streets and stuff. So they exit the building and they find Utrom ships are buzzing around all over the place and attacking everybody in sight. And so Sari, seeing her arch villain overlords, the Utroms, who are totally opposed against the Triceratons, she gets pissed off, and she knows it's Chirel, the Utrom that was trying to off her, and that made her flee to Earth in the Turtles' protection. She knows that he's there, and so she goes out into the streets and challenges him, and it kind of ends up in this big kind of fight in the streets of Mutant Town. Raph ends up back on the scene, so we've got Donnie, Raph, Jenica all fighting alongside Sari. But there's so many Triceratons that they're just overwhelmed. And what's worse is that the Utroms have used, so I keep saying Triceratons, it's Utroms that are attacking, but they're using Triceraton bodies as their muscle, sort of thing. So, which further offends Sari, because one of these Triceraton bodies that they're utilizing is actually her mother's. So she's really pissed off, and she's just ready to tear Chirel, spindly little brain limb from limb, right? So, but the fight, like I said, they're just overwhelmed. It doesn't go that well until Mikey arrives with the Nova Posse. If you remember in one of the issues, he went on a mission with Cuddly Cowlick to another dimension and picked up the Nova Posse to come and help in this whole Armageddon game of the Rat Kings. So they arrive on the scene, turn the tide of the war, or of the battle in the streets, and eventually they defeat all the Utroms. And Sari burns all the bodies in kind of like a funeral pyre thing before she leaves Earth with the Nova Posse in their ship, because the Nova Posse are dead set on vengeance against Chirel, and obviously so is Sari. So she decides to go with them, says goodbye to the Turtles, and that's the way we leave, with her like looking pretty serious in the ship about getting Chirel and basically destroying him into all oblivion. So we'll see where that goes. Next up, the Armageddon Game, the Alliance, issue number 5. I'm not sure if I have issue number 4, actually, to be honest. I think I have only 1 to 3. I think they may have missed one on me, so I'll have to look at that for next month when I go back, see if they have number 4. So in this one, it's all based on April O'Neil. It starts with her like kind of looking into a camera and saying, you know what, I'm in trouble. I found some stuff out, and this is the story, right? So basically, April got a tip about the identity of the four people that were impersonating the mutant Ninja Turtles and causing all that chaos and raiding Baxter Stockman's press release and stuff like that. So she finds out everything links back to Baxter Stockman, and she finds out that Baxter Stockman is actually working with Madame Null. So she basically has gone to investigate Null Industries and try and find out exactly what's happening between all these people and what their plans are. So she end up caught inside the Null Industries building with Madame Null and two of her mutant henchmen with her. One's like a scorpion kind of guy, and the other one's a snake. So she's basically, oh, sorry, I'm so tired. It's kind of like a Die Hard thing. Like April O'Neil is trapped in this building. And these mutants get wind that she's in there with them, and so April just basically spends the entire issue, climbing through air ducts and jumping off roofs and trying to escape from these dangerous mutants. Well, at the same time, if she does get captured or killed or whatever, she's trying to get the information that she found in this reconnaissance mission out to the general public and to her allies so they can do with it what they must, sort of thing. So in the end, she does escape, ends up going back to Casey Jones's house, and explains everything that's going on to everybody, and before she kind of passes out. And then when she recovers, her, Casey, a couple military types go to meet Karai on a rooftop to basically formulate a plan on where they go from here in terms of the Armageddon game, and determine, along with Karai, whether or not Karai can be trusted and fully devote herself and the Foot Clan to helping them all out with this venture. So and it ends in Karai taking $1 for April, saying, well, we've now taken money for our services, so you can damn well guarantee that we're going to be putting our all into this, right? So it's a contract. So pretty cool way to end it. Can't wait to see where it goes. Haven't seen the Rat King for a couple issues here, so what exactly is he up to at this point? We'll find out soon, I'm sure enough. The third and final issue I had this month was from the G.I. Joe realm, and it is an older Marvel issue. It is issue 8 of the Tales of G.I. Joe series. Tales of G.I. Joe was kind of like just a smaller sub-series that just gave us kind of like G.I. Joe special missions, just some different kind of flavor, and just expand it from the regular ongoing series at the time. So in this one, we see Cobra Commander and Baroness, I think it is, out in the sea off of Cape Canaveral, in this kind of weird water rig. They are spying on a space shuttle on the platform that's kind of getting ready to launch for a future launch, and so they have eyes on that before they submerge under the water and make their way down to some sort of underwater base that Cobra has off the coast of Florida there. And the scene then shifts to somewhere in the Arctic or something like that. Anyway, some snow-covered area where Duke and all the Joes are there doing something. I don't know if it's an actual mission or if it's just training or whatever, but Duke says, we've just been handed a hot one. We got to go back to Florida and provide some security for the Space Center. So what's going on is that the Joes or the government or whoever it is, they're launching a space shuttle to put a new satellite in orbit. And I forget exactly what the satellite's for, but Cobra doesn't want it up there. So they've got a bad feeling about this satellite and its capabilities and what it means for Cobra and their ability to cause a ruckus and do what they do. So Cobra eventually stages a attack on the space shuttle before it launches, but Duke and all the Joe team that were out wherever they were make it back in time, they make a stand against Cobra, and of course a big fight ensues, and they barely escape um, having the space shuttle blown up on the tarmac. It blasts off, the satellite's going up into orbit, but Cobra fires off one last like Hail Mary kind of missile up into space to follow the space shuttle up there and blow it up. But some last minute heroics by a certain member of the G.I. Joe team is able to throw the missile off course, save the day, and the space shuttle and its the satellite within it make it to safe harbor in outer space, and all is good. And the Joes kind of chase Cobra away with their tail between their legs as Cobra Commander and Baroness make their escape with their weird underwater vehicle or whatever it is. So yeah, just like I said, there was special missions, Tales of G.I. Joe. I think there was one more kind of shorter, like special missions. I think was only 20, give or take 20 issues long or something like that. It wasn't very long. You know, the original, the full G.I. Joe, the regular ongoing series was like 170 or 80 issues or something like that. So it was long. But these smaller subsets are only, you know, they're just a fraction of that size. But again, just to expand on the events and the timeline and the characters and everything, you know, you can't go wrong with more G.I. Joe. That's what I've learned in my life. One of the many things I've learned, one of the many useless things I've learned, but it's useful to me. Meow.